Hello and welcome to That's Football. How you are doing? This is our latest transfer news. Philippe Coutinho will join Barcelona this month, and it's a matter of when, not won't. And I think Liverpool fans obviously will accept that. You don't go out and spend £75 million on a middle-aged Southampton centre-back, and I say middle-aged like 26 in footballing terms, and then not have some money coming in, because Liverpool don't have loads of money. They're not run like Chelsea or Manchester City, and they won't do deals like that unless they've got a substantial amount coming in. So Coutinho's going to go to Barcelona. There's talk of a Coutinho strike. There's lots of discussion from people like Gary Neville and lots of Liverpool fans, obviously, because it's their player, about when it's going to happen and if it'll happen, and could it happen in May? Will it necessarily happen in January? It's going to be a big deal. There's talk of 110 million plus add-ons. Whether he's worth that or not is not really our concern, because he'll be leaving the Premier League and going to La Liga. Where he'd fit in at Barcelona is quite interesting. I mean, I watched the Barcelona-Real Madrid game a couple of weeks ago. Paulinho actually played quite well, despite it being a major flop for Spurs when he was here. He played quite well for Barcelona, but for me, that would be the position that Coutinho would fill in. Behind people like Messi and Suarez, and obviously they've got Ousmane Dembele to come back. They're having a very good season this year, but obviously he would be cup-tied for the Champions League, which wouldn't help Barcelona out that much. So whether Barcelona need to do this deal in May is something that sort of comes into my mind. Maybe Liverpool are doing what other clubs, small clubs, do in the past, which is they know that they've got a big amount of money coming in, so they spend it before anybody knows that that money's coming in. I mean, that didn't work well with Van Dijk. They've still overpaid, but they have paid money that I think they've got coming in from the Coutinho deal. So will he go in May? Will he go in the summer, which is May, or will he go in January? I think he's going to go any time in the next few days, and I think that that's pretty much what everybody expects to happen, because I think Liverpool would like to do some business. But you can't fault a player who's done very well for Liverpool, wanting to go on to bigger and better things, and Barcelona are infinitely better than most clubs in world football. So the move from Liverpool to Barcelona makes sense. I wouldn't expect Liverpool to want to have negative publicity around their club and a player wanting to force their way out. They nearly had that last summer, and they kept him, and he came back and was very professional, but I think he'll move on. Just quickly on Liverpool, because I do want to talk about Eden Hazard and Gareth Bale and Harry Kane. Emre Can is a player that is out of contract in the summer. So many what you would call Premier League proven decent players out of contract, free to do what they like in the summer, and actually can speak to any club they want outside of the Premier League now. Emre Can is one of those players. He was even linked to Manchester United. I don't know about that, but he is available. But he has more or less said that he will stay till May. I don't know what Liverpool fans think about that, because they're quite interested in Goretzka, who the Schalke midfielder, who is in a similar position. He can speak to other clubs, and he is free in the summer, but obviously plays in the Bundesliga. So Can likely to stay at Liverpool until the summer, but will probably move on unless... I mean, the trouble with these sort of deals, and Ozil's in that position with Arsenal, and Sanchez is in that position with Arsenal, and a few other players are in that position. The problem with it is, for the club that they are at the moment, is that every player who knows they're out of contract in the summer knows that their club is not getting a fee for them, so they get a whacking great big signing on fee. And I mean, Manchester United have got it with Fellaini, you know, a player who is crap, but effectively if he goes to Turkey or wherever he goes, it's not just the wages he gets. It's the money he's going to get when he signs, because he can say to Galatasaray, look, I would cost you £10 million normally, and I would be 100 grand a week. I want 120 grand a week, and I want £5 million, because I've saved you that money, because United aren't getting anything. And that's the problem that you get into. That's why United really shouldn't give Fellaini a contract, and it's probably why Liverpool are reluctant to give somebody like Emre Can a new contract, because they're already your player. Then you've got to go and pay him massive money to stay. So I expect he will go. Sanchez, I think, well, they're playing tonight, aren't they? Chelsea, Arsenal. I think Sanchez was always going to stay till May and then go to City. Ozil's interesting. I think if he hadn't played in the Arsenal-Chelsea game, I would have thought there was a chance he was going to go in January, but maybe he will stay now. Maybe he'll even sign a new contract, Arsenal fans. I do not know. Talking about contracts, Eden Hazard is apparently refusing to sign a new contract with Chelsea. He's got quite a considerable amount of time on his current contract, but Chelsea do want to extend it, but Hazard doesn't want to. Apparently that is because he wants to go to Real Madrid. I mean, Eden Hazard has got worse stats than Jesse Lingard this season, and he is a bit of an enigma, and he's a bit of a up his own backside player. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is looking to move on to other things. You know, he's had his mercenary money at Chelsea, and I think he wants to go somewhere else and do it on a bigger stage, because it doesn't matter how well you play for Chelsea, you don't really get that world-class status, and I think he's probably looking at Real Madrid, Barcelona. And let's be honest with you. I mean, I was speaking about Daley Blind to Barcelona the other day on the United stand, and the reality is, yes, Barcelona and Real Madrid are massive clubs, two of the biggest clubs in the world. But playing for Barcelona and Real Madrid compared to playing for Chelsea or Manchester United or Liverpool is easier. 80% of your games are pub league opposition. There's far more space. You can stat pad. You're surrounded by better players. And obviously you're a lot fresher for the Champions League. So everything's in your favour. You're in these big, iconic world clubs. You've got an easier life, you've got more money, you've got a better climate, you get far more publicity. I mean, why wouldn't Hazard want to go and do that instead of, you know, grafting it in the Premier League week in, week out for Chelsea? So that's likely. And then the other one was Harry Kane, Bale. It's Bale coming back to Spurs, Harry Kane going to Real Madrid. I've said before, I did it on this channel, that Harry Kane would fit Real Madrid like a glove, especially at the moment. Benzema is the weak link in the Real Madrid team as far as I'm concerned, and Harry Kane would just fit it perfectly. So Real Madrid should be looking at Harry Kane. Whether Harry Kane will leave Spurs or not, I don't know. But potentially Harry Kane to Real Madrid, Gareth Bale back to Spurs. I mean, again, Gareth Bale's been linked to Manchester United a lot. And as a Manchester United fan, I've always said, look, can you turn down Gareth Bale, who on his day is still one of the top 5 players in the world? However, his injury records are concerned. Would Spurs want to turn Gareth Bale down? I don't think so either. Would if Harry Kane was adamant he wanted to go to Real Madrid, Spurs would be foolish not to take Gareth Bale for sure. I would think so. Arsenal, Chelsea, a lot of people watching that. Well, Coutinho is better than Paulinho, says Haha Banter. I think everybody establishes that. Bayern will get Goretzka if they go for him, says Brevy Boy. That is what we're hearing, and I hope so, because I think Goretzka's a really, really good player, and I think he would improve Liverpool. And although this is a generic channel where everybody can get involved and all fans are welcome, I still have loyalty to Manchester United, and I wouldn't want to see Goretzka at Liverpool, who are our big, big rivals. What's with Mourinho's transfer policy, says Sheo? Well, I'm actually going to discuss that on the United stand at 8 o'clock tonight, so you can watch that there. Joe Amarillo, yeah, I've heard him mentioned with Manchester United in relation to a Mkhitaryan swap deal. Coutinho hasn't signed yet, George, but I expect him to. Pratic says Liverpool have got to sell Coutinho. They couldn't have afforded Van Dijk on their own. And Liverpool are overpaid, but at least they're getting their man, says Zed Jamie. Well, yes, and that's what Mourinho said when he was asked about it last week, wasn't it? You know, is it better to not get the player that you want, or is it better to overpay and get the player that you want? As a you know, ultimately, I've always said that, certainly in relation to United, that we have got lots of money, and if we overpay for a player, I'd rather we did than not get the player. So, you know, I think you're right. Lamar is a Tottenham fan, says Hanson Lingard. Well, Lamar's an interesting one. Very much in the last couple of weeks of the summer transfer window, Lamar was all over the place. Well, he's going to Liverpool, he's going to Arsenal. I think even United and Spurs were linked to him, you're right. He will be linked again. Will he move in January? I don't know. I mean, Monaco didn't have a great Champions League run, did they? I don't think they made it through the group. So I can see him going for 50 million though, and I don't really think he's a 50 million pound player. But there you go. But Nathan says neutral channel, but a biased presenter. Well, I haven't spoken about Manchester United that much, and actually, I do watch a lot of European football, and although I'm not the biggest Liverpool fan, I can certainly give my opinion on it, like I did Van Dijk and Coutinho and Emre Can, and I can give it the, you know, an interested opinion, because I might not support the club, but I am interested. But to be honest with you, I'm more talking about it from the Barcelona point of view. So if we've got any Barcelona fans or people who watch the Liga, I'm more interested to see what Coutinho is going to do at Barcelona and where he fits in, because Barcelona have basically won La Liga already. So Coutinho going there in January, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense, because yes, he'll go there and he'll definitely win. Well, he might just want to go and win a title, because he's never going to do that at Liverpool, is he? But if he goes and signs for Barcelona in January, he will definitely get a winner's medal, because they've won the title much like Man City have at Christmas. But he can't play Champions League. So is it in his interest to say, you know what, I'm coming in the summer, and then I get a bit of Champions League football with Liverpool? I don't know. It'd be interesting. A lot of people think he's going to move in January. I think he's going to move in January, but actually I think it makes sense to him personally, and obviously for Liverpool, that he goes in May. But then the problem is, what if between now and May he does his knee and he's out for a year? Liverpool are up this creek without a paddle. Coutinho misses out on his dream move, and Barcelona just say, hold on, we'll go and buy somebody else. So it is interesting to see. Chelsea, the fake plastic club, being replaced by Man City as the new fake plastic club. New toy in town, says Hanson Lingard. Do a transfer daily on this channel. That we are thinking of doing that. We are thinking of doing that. So yeah, drop a like on the video if you think you should. 18 dislikes. I presume they're Liverpool fans, but you know what? Football's all about opinion, and that's what football is all about. We will discuss the big topics, and we will give our opinion. Geyser Caesar says Spain, what a dad league. Oh no, sorry. Then he says sad league. I thought you'd come up with something clever then with dad league. I thought dad league. What does that mean then? What do you think about Lucas Moura of PSG? Says Pankaj. All I know about him is that he was a decent player, a decent proposition for Manchester United a few years ago, and he chose PSG. For me, that was PSG a few years ago. For me, that was a bit mercenary. And I think, look, I'm going to make a really generic statement here, but it is based on fact. We've seen it with the likes of Ramirez and I forget his name. Who was, I can picture him, he was at Chelsea. There's quite a few of them though, there's quite a few of them who've done it. Brazilians, they come from, like, a lot of them come from from poverty, very good footballers, but they aren't from Europe, and their football career is an opportunity to make a lot of money, and a lot of Brazilian players are mercenaries, and I think Moura is a bit of a mercenary. Why can't I think of the lad? I can picture his face. Quite a young lad, Chelsea player, about 26 when he went. Looks quite sort of Spanish, but he's not. I'm thinking Lucas keeps coming into my head, but that's not his name. I should know his name. I really should know his name. He was there with Ramirez, quite a tall guy. Why can't I think of his name? Why can't I think of his name? He's in China at the moment. It's going to really wind me up, that is. Somebody's going to tell it. Someone's going to tell me. Oscar Lucas. Oscar was his name, Ricky, and Yadman TV. Yeah, so a lot of them are like that. So, which is, I haven't got a problem with it. You know, whatever their backgrounds, they're not Europeans, like I say, and they're there to make money. But actually, it depends on the mentality of the club that you support and what you want your club to be. And I basically want players at my club to, you know, run through brick walls and be passionate and, you know, bleed for the badge. I don't think some of those Brazilian players we mentioned are that mentality. They want to play football and they love football, but ultimately they're there to make money. And a lot of footballers are like that, not just Brazilians. So I don't, for that reason, I would not be overly joyed if my club went for Moura. But he's a good player. He's hardly played for PSG at the moment. I think he's only played about 6 games this season, and none of the Champions League games. Bravey Boy, I'm looking at the comments. A lot of people have said Oscar. I don't know, I've had a total brain fart with that, and Lucas was just stuck in my head. Kane is the best striker in the world and he will stay with us, says James Crossman. Well, just to finish up on Spurs, I saw something today that was quite interesting about Spurs, that they want to sign Ryan Sessegnon, Ross Barkley, they want to get everybody else on long-term deals, and there was somebody else they want to sign as well who's, you know, quite young, and it's about, you know, building longevity at Spurs. And if they manage to keep hold of Harry Kane and Dele Alli, then they are building that. I think the problem with Spurs is that they somehow need to win a title, because once they've won a title, it's that step. It's like United had it from over 20 years. They didn't win a title and they get close, but you've got to do it. And Spurs have had it for the last few years. I thought they were the best team in the league last year. Was it last year? Who won the title last year? Yeah, I thought Spurs were the best team in the league last year, but Chelsea won it through experience. I thought they were the best team when Leicester won it, but Leicester won it because they had 1 game a week. Spurs need to win a title. I think if Spurs won a title, that would take them to the next level. They'd have that winning mentality, which they miss, and they'd have the players who've won things at Spurs and know that they can win things there. I think that is the doubt as to whether they'll keep hold of their players for that reason and that reason alone. Yeah. But I mean, I like Pochettino and I like the football they play. I do like Spurs. I think it was a shame that they had that real Arsenal November, because they just disintegrated. But yeah, they should have had a title in the last few years. But until they do, they'll always have it levelled at them, a bit like Arsenal, that they're bottlers, and they need to get up. They need to get it. They need to get over that. Anyway. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you drop a like on the video if you enjoy it. We've got 44 dislikes, so we've obviously got a lot of Liverpool fans tuning in, which is absolutely fine. If you have watched live, I haven't seen any of your dissenting comments in there telling us why you've taken issue with it. But if you aren't watching live, get comments below and let us know. But I think Coutinho goes. I do agree that I think he probably should go in May, because there's no Champions League football he can play for Barcelona, and Barcelona have already won a title. But as I said, that might be why Coutinho wants to go, because he's never going to win a title at Liverpool, and he thinks, you know, not only do I go to the club I want to go to, but I'll get a league winners medal within 4 months, because Barcelona have got that signed up. But Coutinho's going. We all know that. Liverpool are spending the money already, and he's going to go. And I think he's going to go this month, like a lot of people do. Thanks everyone for watching. I really do enjoy doing this channel, because I like many other people, we all have our clubs that we support, but I watch a lot of football, and I am very interested in what's going on with other clubs, because they might be rivals, but it doesn't mean that you ignore or are not on the ball with what's happening with them. Especially, I enjoy the European League and what's going on there, so we've got lots of that coming up for you this year as well. So make sure you spread the word, get involved, and I'll see you on the United stand in about 10 minutes. We're doing our 8 o'clock stream there, but if you're not a United fan and you don't want to watch that, we'll be back again tomorrow with more transfer news on That's Football. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.